Venerable Dhamma friends, Venerable brothers, Dhamma friends. Actually, we have come to another English Dhamma discussion, and till Bhante Dhammajiva returns on Thursdays, we are discussing Dhamma in English. And as a topic, we have taken the Parayana Magga, and we are going one after the other, various suttas. And as you all know, Parayana Magga is very interesting and quite profound. And Buddha's teaching is very concisely included there, and each verse is very, I would say, fairly profound, explaining the teaching in a very brief manner. And we need fair amount of thorough understanding, maybe some deeper amount of practice in order to comprehend each verse. And the questions are asked by the some Brahmins who are already spent fair amount of time in the renunciated life, spent as hermits, and their teacher was called Babari, and he himself is a fairly old teacher, 120 years old, and he's kind of a reputed teacher and has a lot of respect from others, including the king. And he had a problem with another Brahmin and Brahmin ascetic, and now he is in a little puzzle, and he is now sending his students to meet the Buddha. And he get to know that Buddha has arisen in the world, and he want to get some advice, some opinion from the Buddha. And he himself can't approach him because he is quite old, can't travel. So he is asking his students to reach the Buddha and verify whether he is a true Buddha, and then ask the questions through the mind. Now these ascetics, 16 Brahmins, they themselves are teachers, and under them there are other followers. So they themselves being practitioners for a long time, and then they are approaching the Buddha. They find he is the real Buddha. They check the bodily marks explained as in the Vedas, and they found yes, he is the real Buddha. And now they are asking various questions using their mind, and now the Buddha is answering through words. So that's how the Parayana Magga has evolved. And sometimes, interestingly, Buddha himself refers Parayana Magga at later time, mentioning, okay, monks, so I have in this particular time, at this Parayana Magga, to this particular venerable, I have mentioned like this. I mentioned like this because of this. So likewise, Buddha himself has referred certain verses included in Parayana Magga at later occasions. And many other monks also taken Parayana Magga verses for their discussion. So likewise, it's a fairly interesting and profound teaching included in Parayana Magga. The Parayana literally means going beyond. So it's going across, crossing the floods, going beyond, the literal meaning. And now we have come to the next sutta, probably. So the way that we discuss this is first we recite the Pali verse, and then Venerable Dhamma Vijita will recite the English translation, and Venerable Dhamma Alankara will recite the Sinhala translation. So I'll start with the next sutta, that is called Todeya Sutta. So that means the Brahmin name is called Todeya. Last time we discussed the Hemaka Sutta, and now we are going to discuss Todeya Sutta. Let's start like this. Yasmin kama na vasanti, tanha yassa na vijjati. Katang kathacha yo tinno vimokko, tassa ki diso. Yasmin kama na vasanti, within brackets, ichayasma todeyo, close brackets, tanha yassa na vijjati. Katang kathacha yo tinno vimokko, tassa ki diso. Now this is the question asked by Venerable Todeya, Brahmin Todeya. So we'll go for the translation. Listen to the translations.
For one in whom sensual desires do not dwell, in whom craving is not found, and who has crossed over perplexity, of what sort is his emancipation?
අවසරයි ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ. තෝදේය මානවක මෙසේ ඇසීය. යම් පුකුලෙකු කෙරෙහි කාමයෝ නොලගිද්ද යමෙකුට තෘෂ්ණාවත් විද්‍යමාන නොවේද යම් පුද්ගලයෙක් කතංකති භාවයත් තරණය කළේද ඔහුගේ විමෝක්ෂය කෙබඳු වේදයි.
So he is asking a question related to the emancipation. And this particular person It means that he is referring already is free from all sensual desires. And not only that, there is no craving existing. Tanha yassa navijjati. So there is no craving in him. See, further, he has no perplexity. Katang kati. So that is the perplexity. He has various doubts. So there are no doubts. There are no perplexities in him. And tinno vimokko. And he basically has rid of all those perplexities, all the doubts. So what is his further emancipation? Is there any further emancipation for him? So this is the question asked by Thodeya. And now Buddha is answering like this. Yasmin kama na vasanti, within brackets Thodeyoti bhagava, close brackets, tanha yassa na vijjati, katang katacha yotinno vimokko, tassa naparo. Yasmin kama na vasanti, tanha yassa na vijjati, katang katacha yotinno vimokko, tassa naparo. So we'll listen to the translations.
For one in whom sensual desires do not dwell, in whom craving is not found, and who has crossed over perplexity, there is no further emancipation for him.
භාග්‍යවතුන් වහන්සේ මෙසේ වදාළසේක. තෝදයේනි, යම් පුද්ගලයෙකු කෙරෙහි කාමයෝ නොලගින්නාහුද, යමෙකුට තෘෂ්ණාත් නැද්ද, විචිකිත්සා සංඛ්‍යාත කතංකති භාවයත් යමෙක් තරණය කළේද, ඕහට අන්‍ය විමෝක්ෂයෙක් නොවේ.
So that means Buddha answers, so there is no need. Another further emancipation, he is already emancipated. So basically he is an arahant. So you are referring to an arahant because there is no sensual desire in him. Further, there is no craving at all. So tanhakkaya is the nibbana. It's a complete abandoning, complete eradication of craving he has accomplished. And there are no doubts. There are no any perplexities in his mind. So that means he is completely liberated. He's a liberated person. So there is no further liberation for him. I mean, he's already attained person. He's already an arahant, already a liberated person. So I feel these are very interesting parts that we can little think of. So we are, now typically we are very much like troubled with various sensual desires. Now you know that there are three categories of craving. Kama tanha, bhava tanha, vibhava tanha. The kama tanha. So various sensual desires are there in oneself. You want to see various sights and you want to hear various music sounds and smell some good odors and want to have delicious tastes, and there are various tangibles that you may be looking forward. So those sense objects, 5 sense codes, are something we always look after, look forward and anticipating. So these are the sensual desires that we already have, and our minds are always thinking about them. And if we had some kind of a sensual engagement in the past with respect to sights, sounds, smells, tastes and tangibles, we still think about them. How I had them, how enjoyable they are. So if they are really enjoyable, then how enjoyable they are. So likewise, we want to further think about them and want to get delighted about them. Likewise, so there is a further and further involvement with the sensual desires. And in the future also, I want to have them. I want to enjoy more sensual pleasures. So I am yearning for further sensual pleasures. Always I want that. Always I want to see beautiful sights, want to listen to beautiful music, want to engage with some good odors, smells, tastes. And then ultimately, even the bodily, I need to have some kind of a gratification. So this is what the world is going after, what we commonly called as the pleasure principle. We are going after sensual pleasures. Now, in this particular person, as mentioned in the verse, there is no such sensual desire. So that means completely kama tanha has abandoned. So the kama tanha, the sensual desire has abandoned. So that's not an easy thing. By the way, if someone has completely abandoned kama tanha, so that means he's a fairly liberated person because there are no sensual desires, no kama tanha at all in his mind. Mind is completely at peace. It doesn't tremble asking this and that, doesn't get agitated asking various sensual engagements, sensual gratification. Rather, it is very quiet, tranquil, peaceful, fairly calm. On the other hand, next term refers that all the tanha has abandoned. So that includes not only kama tanha, including bhava tanha and vibhava tanha. So bhava tanha. So we are very much like looking forward to various activities. I want to become someone. I want to engage with something. I want to have this, have that. So we are further driven by kind of becoming process. I want this. I want that, and I want to become. So that becoming process is always there in the mind. So currently I am not 100% satisfied. I am not 100% contented. So I am driven by craving. Further, if there is some kind of say painful feeling, I want to get rid of that immediately. If there is someone who is troubling me, I want to get rid of him. If there is any kind of unfavorable situation, I want to get rid of that. So likewise, there is a desire to get rid of some unfavorable painful states, either in the mental or in the physical level. So that's the vibhava tanha. Typically we want to reject all that. We want to get rid of what we don't want. So that vibhava tanha is also abandoned. So that means there are no likes and there are no dislikes. There is no any attraction and there is no any repulsion. So mind is in a very peaceful middle, kind of a very fairly equipoise, where there are no attractions and there are no repulsions. So mind is in a completely balance. Now say for example, if there is any kind of a desire for future, desire for say sensual desires, so then it's a kind of an attraction. So mind can't remain quiet, mind can't remain still, mind being distracted, mind being attracted. On the other hand, if there is any aversion, any hatred in one's mind, then there's a repulsion. So again mind get trembled, mind get shaken, because you are being repulsed by something. But if that is all gone, so then mind is quite quiet, very calm, completely still. There are no attractions, no repulsions, completely in the middle, in the very equilibrium, a good equilibrium. So this is what actually mentioned in certain other suttas, like in the Baddhekarata Sutta, Asanghirang Asankuppang, Tang Vidva Manubruhe. So Buddha mentioned, so there is no any kind of attraction and there is no any repulsion, and knowing that balanced, peaceful state, so the yogi is very much like growing in such state. So he is always trying to keep the mind in the middle, unattracted and without any repulsion. So he is maintaining a very equanimous, fairly balanced state of mind, unattached even to the present activities, even the middle. You are not attached, you are not holding something to stay in the middle. Say for example, say while you are walking, say doing walking meditation, assume that there is a beautiful music you being heard. So probably now you want to stop your walk and you want to listen to that music. So it can happen. But suppose now you don't want to do that, so you want to completely be with your body without being getting distracted. So one option that you can do is to pay strong attention to your sensation, bodily sensation. So you are holding bodily sensation as a refuge, as a pole, as a post, so that you are not getting distracted to these various beautiful sounds, maybe even smells, maybe even sights. So this meditation object, primary object, becomes a stronghold for you, so that the mind does not get distracted. Now, if you lose that, if there is nothing to hold like that, you can get attracted because there is nothing to hold. But interesting thing is, as we continue vipassana, and you being very much like being away from what you are currently observing, maybe bodily phenomena, whatever the contact, maybe hardness, softness, stiffness, all that, element characteristics. So you are recognizing various feelings, all that. So you are slowly abandoning that, and mind recognize some kind of a balance. Mind recognize some kind of a middle where there is no attachment at all, there is no grasping at all, and you are recognizing that beautiful balance. So while there, now you don't need even the body. Now you don't need even the primary object. You don't need even any kind of another object just to hold, because mind has let go of everything. Mind doesn't want anything. It has found its kind of a freedom. It has found its independence, and it is not getting distracted. And even if it get distracted, quickly return back by its own, but naturally. Not that you are willfully, forcefully maintaining your attention on something. Rather, mind naturally relax. Mind naturally in a balance, in a kind of an equilibrium, without getting strongly distracted, without making any comments, without any conceptual proliferation. So mind is in that balance. And then, so that only can happen, I mean, as you are able to abandon craving, because craving is one strong reason for agitation, typically called as the injita, where the mind get agitated because of craving. But if there is no craving at all, then the mind is in natural balance, natural equilibrium, natural equanimity is there. And then the katankati, so that means sometimes we have doubts how it happens, how that happened, whether the world is eternal, whether the next world, what am I going to do next. So we have various questions about the world, about our spiritual things. So there could be various doubts, but in him there are no doubts either, no perplexities. He's very clear about the whole thing, and he know exactly what I need to do, or already he has completely enlightened, as in explained in this case. So no doubts at all with respect to his past, with respect to his future, with respect to the present. There are no doubts. So he understood the teaching. He has attained the teaching, understood. The wisdom is there. That's it. Nothing else to do, isn't it? So tanhakkayo nibbana. So tanhakkayo nibbana. So that means if one is able to abandon complete craving, then he has already attained nibbana. So nothing else to do. On the other hand, if there are no doubts and all the sensual desires are abandoned, then that means he is a fairly advanced person. He is not being driven by all the sense desires. All the tanha, craving, has abandoned. As a result of that, there are no doubts either. So anything you need to contribute, please? Yes.
What about parinibbana?
Yeah, so actually here we can say, actually when the nibbana is explained, there are two states sometimes explained. What we call as the saupadisesa nibbana and anupadisesa nibbana. In the saupadisesa nibbana, so the meaning is that you are able to completely abandon all the defilements, tanha, dosa, or the raga, dosa, moha. That means the lust, hatred, delusion, completely abandoned. But the body exists still. The body continues. Say your five aggregates continues because they have come as a result of the momentum, past karma, and all the past activities has given it fair amount of momentum. It continues. But how long? Till the death. So after the death, nothing is there. So there we can say you attain the final parinibbana, what we call as the anupadisesa parinibbana. Anupadisesa, there is no remainder at all. Completely the five aggregates completely cease and nothing remains. That's it, done, gone. So very much like, say, we can give a simile, like say there is a fire burning and you are continuously supplying fuel. Continuously you are putting some, you say, firewood or something, and it's continue to burn. How about if you take out all those firewood? Now what happen? It will extinguish, no flames, but there is no further generation of fire, but the already burned part still burning. It will take some time to completely, extinguish. But you are quite sure I am not further burning it. I am not adding any fuels, and it's now fading away. Ultimately, after some time, completely extinguished. There are no even a flame. There is no even a smoke. There is no even a, say, heat. Completely extinguished. Completely cooled. So this is a kind of a simile, somewhat similar to some examples that Buddha has given. So likewise, I would like to say, So when one becomes an arahant, so there is no further supplying of fuel. No upadana, no clinging. There is no further supplying of fuel. So the vehicle has still running, but no fuel, because it was running very fast. Suppose that you are driving a vehicle and you are on the highway and you ran out of fuel. Do you want to quickly stop? Or if you don't do anything, it will still further run, but no fuel. What will ultimately happen? It will stop naturally. So likewise, so when the defilements are completely cut off, so there is no further supplying of fuel, but the momentum that you carried forward from the past, the 5 aggregates continue to exist sometime till the death. But it will cease for sure, no doubt about it. So after it stops, after the death, no further existence, no point of talking about a person existing. Then we are coming to the personality view. Rather, the 5 aggregates are, helping each other, and it is being supported by various causes and conditions. And that is how the aggregates were, continuing. But when those causes, when those reasons are no more being supplied, so ultimately it will evaporate. It will completely cease. So therefore, the 2 stages of parinibbana, what we call as sopadisesa and anupadisesa, is explained in the Dhamma. Yeah. Answered the questions? You don't know about it? You can refer Itivuttaka Pali in the Itivuttaka, Kuddaka Nikaya. So it's explained as 2 states in the 2 Nibbana Dhatuyo. There are 2 categories or 2 stages of the Nibbana. While you are alive, you can become an arahant, completely free from any defilement, and you attain the Nibbana in the, with the 5 aggregates. 5 aggregates, you are not anyway clinging to any of those 5 aggregates. They are continuing till the life exists. So all the defilements are abandoned, no craving at all. And so that is the Nibbana in the sense of with the remainder of the aggregates, you attain the Nibbana. And one arahant can, be in the arahanta pala samadhi and all that, enjoy in the Nibbana. And after passing away, everything ceases. So there you attain the final parinibbana called the anupadisesa parinibbana. There is no remainder at all. All the aggregates cease. So we are continuing the discussion. If there is anyone who want to contribute, who want to ask a question, feel free. And we are going to the next verse. Nirasaso so uddhi asasano Panyānavā so udapanya kappi muning ahang sakka yatha vijanyang tangme vyachikka samanta chakku. Now this is the question asked by Thodeya. Nirasaso so uddhi asasano Panyānavā so udapanya kappi muning ahang sakka yatha vijanyang tamme vyachikka samanta chakku. So we'll listen to the translations.
Is he without desire, or does he have desire? Does he possess wisdom, or just a wise manner? So that I can understand, O Sakka, explain the Muni to me, O universal I.
ඒ මුනිතෙම තෘෂ්ණා සහිත වූයේද නොහොත් තෘෂ්ණා සහිත වූයේද හේ ප්‍රඥා ඇතියේද නොහොත් සමාපatti ආදී ඥානයෙන් තෘෂ්ණා දෘෂ්ටි කල්ප කරනුයේද ශාක්‍යයන් වහන්ස යම් පරිද්දකින් මම් මුනිදු හඳුනාගන්නෙම් නම් සමතස් ඇති භාග්‍යවතුන් වහන්ස එපරිද්දෙන් මට එකරුණ වදාළ මැනව.
Yes. Now he is further asking, Bante, are there further desires in him? Now he is asking, are there further desires in him, or completely no desires at all? And Panyānavā so udapanya kappi. So he is completely wise, so he is behaving like a wise person. So what can you tell me about that? So this is the question he is asking. So when Buddha mentioned, so if there are no desires, no craving at all, so that means no craving at all. I mean, no desires at all. Anyway, he want to be sure. He's still asking, are there any further desires, any hidden ones? And on the other hand, now a person can behave like a wise person, isn't it? Now say I am associating someone a wise person, but I am not really a wise person, but I can learn from him. So how to behave and how to act and how to answer and all that. So I copy someone and I am learning those wise manners. Then I am behaving as a wise person. I can talk like wise. I can behave like a wise person. So all that is possible, isn't it? And on the other hand, a person truly being a wise person, so he doesn't want to imitate anyone because he is truly wise. So there's a little difference here, isn't it? So we can associate a good person, a wise person, and then we can imitate him. And we can learn from him, and we also may gain something. But we can't say that I have reached to the same wise wisdom. But later, maybe at another time, I can maybe able to reach the wisdom. But that person is concerned, wise person is concerned, he is the real wise person. He has completely understood the whole thing, and he's the wise person. So likewise, this Todeya is asking now, this person, is he really a wise person? He himself really a wise person? He is behaving like a wise person, and he has wise manners. Now we'll see what Buddha is answering. Nirasaso so naso asasano Panyānavāso naca panyakappi Evampi Todeya muning vijanang Akincanang kam bhave asattanti Nirasaso so naso asasano Panyānavāso naca panyakappi Evampi Todeya muning vijanang Akincanang kam bhave asattanti. So we listen to the translations.
He is without desire. He does not have desires. He possesses wisdom, not just a wise manner. Understand the Muni thus, Todeya, as one owning nothing, unattached to sensual pleasures and existence.
ඒ මුනිතෙම තෘෂ්ණාරහිතය. හේ ආශා සහිත නොවේ. හේ ප්‍රඥා ඇතියේය. සමාපatti ආදී ඥානයෙන් නොද තෘෂ්ණා දෘෂ්ටි කල්ප කරන්නේ වෙයි. තෝදෙයේනි මෙසේ තෝ කාමයෙහිදු භවයෙහිදු නොඇලුණු පලිබෝධ නැතියෙහු මුනියයි දනුවයි.
Now Buddha say, now here the theme, the title is about the Arahant. So Arahant is completely free from desires. Now Buddha assures about it. No desires at all. Once craving is abandoned, no further desires at all. Even the latent tendencies are abandoned in him. Typically when says Kīnāsava, to the Arahant it is the term Kīnāsava. Kīnāsava means even the latent tendencies are abandoned. Influxes are abandoned. No asavas even, so there is no any possibility of future defilements to arise in his mind. Even that tendency, even that potential being abandoned. Completely purified. And Paññānava. Now he is truly a wise person. Not that he simply imitate wise manners. He is truly a wise person. And further, Kama Bhave Asattanti. So there is no further attachment to the human realm or any kind of sensual realm, any sensuality. He has no desires at all. All Kamasava has abandoned, all the Bhavasava has abandoned. And Akinchanam, he owns nothing basically. His mind is completely empty. He owned nothing. If you can refer that last term, you are owned. What's that translation?
As one owning nothing.
Owning nothing.
Unattached.
Unattached. So owning nothing and unattached. So Akinchanam. So Akinchana. Now here actually this the Kinchana, the term Kinchana is deeply referred as Raga Dosa Moha. Rago ko auso kinchano, doso kinchano, moho kinchano. So this is how Venerable Sariputta explains in the Mahavedalla Sutta. So Raga, the lust is something. Hatred is something. Delusion is something. As a result of them, they create something. Say I can see a beautiful flower. So I have a desire for that. Then I am naming it, I want it, I want to have it. I say something, it's really beautiful. I want to comment about it. I can write about it. I can write a poem about it. I can take a photo about it. I can, frame it and show it. I can invite others also to come. There's a beautiful flower here. So like that, because I have some sort of a desire for that. So then I make it very important something. I make it something. And assume that on the other hand, there is something that I don't like. Then I want to get rid of it and I make a comment about it. I am complaining about it. I am going to the office and complaining about it, and going to another monk and I am complaining about him or it. Why that is there, why that is there. So likewise, I make something, right? I mean, I want to complain about it. My mind is referring that, always thinking about it. Even though I am going away from the monastery, still I am thinking about it. Maybe. So likewise, so I am making it something very important, something commendable. So that hatred is another thing that creates something. So in our mind, so now the mind has occupied with that something. So previously assume that mind is completely free, there are no scars, no stains, no perceptions, completely pure. But unfortunately now there is something, because through the hatred I have given some emphasis onto something, some importance to something, and then it has occupied the mind. Now, if there is no lust, if there is no hatred, then how are we occupying the mind? How are we making something? Isn't it? So, in order to make something, so I need either hatred, either lust, or even the delusion. With the delusion, I can make a kind of a comment, I can get distracted to that, I can sort of have a kind of entanglement in that particular object. So some kind of a comment, some kind of a conceptual proliferation, conceptual interest I might have about it when I am thinking about it through the delusion. But if I have no delusion, mind is free. Mind doesn't want to get involved. Mind does not get mixed up. Now, say for example, there's a very interesting sutta called Sona Sutta in Anguttara Nikaya. So Venerable Sona, after he being an Arahant, so he explained his situation to the Buddha, and he says, Bhante, when I see, I can see so many things. Not just one thing, I can see so many things. But interestingly, my mind does not get mixed up with anything. So many things are there. I mean, it's not that he's naming them. So many things are there when my eyes are open. So when enough lighting is available, there are so many things where the eyes can see. But interesting thing is, my mind does not get mixed up with anything. It remains calm, quiet, still, without any wavering. Samma vimutta cittassa bhante bhikkhuno busachepi chakku viññaya rupa chakku sapatang agaccanti amissi katamevassa cittang hoti titang anenjappatta vayam chassanu passati. So this is the statement he makes with respect to the sights. So there are so many different things available. I can feel, I can see, but my mind remains calm, quiet, without getting mixed up, without any wavering, still completely still. So his mind is not being occupied by whatever the sight. And similarly he explains about the sounds, smells, tastes, touches, tangibles, even the thoughts. Thoughts may come and go, but mind remains calm, very still, and you can see the difference in Anguttara Nikaya 6th. Let me give you the Buddha's words, the sutta words. It's a very, very interesting sutta. I often refer it to understand, how they are, referring the world. So how they are referring this. Arahants are, seeing the world. So Evaṁ samma vimutta cittassa bhante bhikkhuno busachepi chakku viññaya rupa chakku sapatang agaccanti nevassa cittam pariyadiyanti. another statement. I missed that. Nevasa chittam pariyadiyanti. That means his mind not get agitated by whatever the sight. So don't think that these sights are merely trees. Like what we have here. They are maybe very disturbing sights. Say someone is killing someone. So we get agitated. Why is there? So I want to get immediately, call the police and, I get agitated. But in him, there is no agitation. Maybe he may be later calling the police. He may be doing the correct thing. But mind remains calm. So that's the difference. So we really get shocked and we really get disturbed when that kind of a, say, disturbing scene is seen. But he is not disturbed. His mind not get agitated. Nevasa chittam pariyadiyanti. So whatever the sights he see does not penetrate his mind, does not occupy his mind, agitate his mind. Nevasa chittam pariyadiyanti. Amisi kata nevasa chittam hodi. They don't get mixed up with the mind. Titang. Mind remains still. Anenjappatang. Unwavering. Very strong. Stable. Anenjappatang. Vayanchassanupassati. All that he see, they are fading away, passing away. And similarly, he explained about the sounds. Similarly, explained about jiva vinyaya, rasa, all the taste, kaya vinyaya, pottabba, all the tangibles, and even what this it's only included that. And he's giving a simple, a very interesting example. Sayatapi bhante, selo pabbadito, achiddo, asusiro, eka gahano. Now there is, assume that there is a huge, strong, mountain? Rock, strong rock, has no any, say, holes in it. There are no any, say, asusiro, eka gahano. It's a completely solid rock. And even if there's a strong wind coming from east, this rock is not shaken. Even if there's a strong wind coming from the west, this rock is unshaken. Even if a wind coming from the north, this rock is unshaken. Even if a strong wind comes from the south, still this rock is unshaken. So this is simile he is giving. So you can imagine what the kind of a mindset he is having, an arahant is having. That he is living in the world, he may go through various disturbing situations, but his mind is not disturbed. And beautifully, he mentioned, Selo yatha ikagano vatena na samirati, evang rupa rasa saddha gandha passacha kevala, ittha dhamma anittacha, nappa vedindi sadino, titan chittang vipamuttang vayanchassanupassati. So he adds in the verse, like a solid rock, remain calm, remains stable, amidst all these winds. Like when the arahant come across rupa, rasa, saddha, gandha, passa, kevala, all different sight, sounds, smells, tastes, tangibles. Itta dhamma anittacha, they could be really desirable objects, or they could be really disturbing, very harmful kind of disturbing objects. But nappa vedini tadino. So this tadi, the arahant, he remains calm. Titang, stable. Vipamuttang, his mind is liberated, completely freed. And all that he experiences, he see that they are coming and going, passing away. So you can see that Buddha's answer to this Todeya in very brief, and the kind of a descriptive answer, explanation given by Sona, is fairly telling each other. They are very well supporting each other. So in the Todeya Sutta, Buddha mentioned, so he's a wise person. Not that he simply imitates a wise manner, but he's really a wise person. And there is no any desires, sensual desires in him, and his mind does not occupy anything either. Mind is completely empty. Complete clarity is there in his mind, and no desires at all. So any comments? So we can see that the Parayanavagga suttas are so profound, very beautiful, and talks directly about the arahanthood. no talks about, no comments about the Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, not much about that. Completely talk about the final goal, the full enlightenment.
Excuse me, Bhante. Yes. When we're talking about arahants and the final goal, I feel inspired that we are practicing, in our practice, we're practicing this letting go, just in our Vipassana practice. So we're sort of training to, doing the training to let go.
Correct.
And we can do it in small amounts.
Exactly.
Just even a beginner can.
Exactly.
Because people out in the world, they don't know that they can let go of their thoughts often, and maybe they get to a point where they have to drink alcohol or go shopping or do something to kind of stop this. Or, maybe they found yoga. That's a good thing. Go to the yoga class and stop it for a little while, at least to some degree. So, but it's a amazing thing, the Vipassana practice.
And on the other hand, that Buddha comment like this, as you correctly mentioned. So this worldly people, they know only sensual gratification as the only satisfaction. Assume that they are going through some bodily pain. While they go through that bodily pain, they are thinking about some sensual gratification. When can I have free from this pain and have some, some satisfaction? When can I be with her? When I can be with him? When can I be with my children? When can I return back to my home and enjoy some music? I want to see a, movie. I have missed that trip. I want to visit to a particular country. I have missed all that because I am sick. Completely, suffering, grieving. Thinking that I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that, I couldn't satisfy my senses. He knows only that. That's Buddha make a comment. So this typical worldling, whenever he is going through some suffering, he not only suffer, he adds another kind of a, desiring for something, some sensual attachment, some sensual gratification is the only option he is thinking about. That's the only option he has, nothing else. He's yearning for that sensual gratification even when he is bodily sick, even when he is suffering. He wants to get rid of this suffering quickly because he wants to enjoy senses. But on the other hand, Buddha say the instructed person, noble disciple, so he has an option. He can avoid that mental suffering. Yearning for that sensual gratification, he don't want, okay. Bodily pain is there. I am sick now. Body is sick now. Okay, I am ready to accept it. I am maintaining my mind fairly, undisturbed as much as possible. And if possible, as we just discussed, that temporary liberation is something he can maintain as a refuge. Suppose that through Vipassana, he has recognized this unattached state where he can maintain his mind without attachment, without anything hold, any grasping. So that can be a temporary liberation, temporary refuge. He can always try his mind to maintain there, rather than, oppressed by various pains. They are there, they may be still torturing, but he is trying again and again to keep the mind in that equanimity, referring that, etan santang etan panitang yadidang upekha. As explained in the Indriya Bhavana Sutta. So Buddha say, okay, again and again return to that. Equanimity is the refuge. That is so sublime, so peaceful, stay there. It is not that equanimous feeling we are talking here, but the mind is fairly equanimous about all that going on by knowing their true nature. Because he has went through some Vipassana practice, understood their impermanence and their unsatisfactory nature, their torturing nature, and non-governable nature. As a result of that, he has given up. He has no expectation from these sankharas, isn't it? Because no point. Things are beyond his control, and they have their own causes and conditions. So they are so vulnerable. So no point of finding any kind of satisfaction, any kind of hope, solace from them. So let me keep my mind freed, without holding any of this, without having any hope of these conditioned phenomena. So that is the kind of profound understanding a disciple may have, an instructed, practiced disciple may have. He does not think about sensual gratification. That is not his only option, isn't it? So the typical worldly person, he is always thinking about the sensual gratification. That's the only refuge he has, only satisfaction he can think of. But the instructed person, the yogi, the practitioner, if he has tasted the freedom of mind, probably that can be his refuge. He's again and again returning there, trying to maintain there. That becomes his norm. Want to make it like it's his norm, and want to dwell there as much as possible.
Bhante. Yeah, it just reminds me of when I started practicing meditation. I remember that I began to get rid of things. I began to just get rid of some material things that I looked around and was like, what do I need that for? And I think there was some connection between, spending some time in a state where you don't need anything, and then coming out of it and looking around and your life sort of changes. You start to let go of things. So, I think people out in the world can experience this in their Vipassana practice at home, and gradually, in a way I think of it as getting ready for death, because when we die, we're not going to get to keep anything. So gradually we can, get rid of a few things and eventually live a pretty peaceful life without so many attachments.
Yeah, very true. Now, say as you mentioned, so during the death moment, if we remember our children, if we remember our wife, remember our husband, remember our whatever the belongings, so still that means some attachment. So if with that attachment, if I die, probably I might become a peta or someone. So because a strong attachment to that, I can't be separated from them. I have still some attachment to my, my properties, my bank account, whatever it is. But as you said, if the mind is not worried about it, if the mind is so peaceful, there is no person that I am so bound with, so attached to, which I can't be separated with. There is no such kind of a, intimacy with anyone. Then, you are peaceful. You are no calm. You no need to cry.
Yes, you put your finger on it, especially is the attachment to people and our relatives. That's the strongest attachment, I think.
Yes, now say father is dying. Maybe his children are still young. He may have thoughts about them. What's going to happen to them if I die? He may have a lot of properties, wealth. Probably another person might steal that. If he can think about like that. So he may get shocked. He may get frightened while thinking like that. So my children will be, will be helpless. So they'll be, many things can happen. My wife is still so young. She might get, disturbed by someone else. My properties are really strong, there's so much of property still available. Someone cannot steal that. So I'm going to die. Very difficult, no? Very disturbing, no? Now, if we consider the mentality of that person, very disturbing. But if he has no such kind of desires, he's in a peaceful state. Okay, let me die peacefully. You don't need to cry. I am also not crying. This is an inevitable death. Anyway, we have to go through it. Let me go. So there's a simple example. Recently, not even recently, a few years ago, 1 or 2 years ago, there was one lady who was organizing these retreats. You have heard about Devika? There is one lady. So she was organizing retreats at Nissarana. She got a terminal cancer. And now she is dying. But her sister, frequent visitor to Kalalgoda, she is mentioning, now I was, surprised how my sister went through that suffering. She bought that property. And there was no, crying, there is no lamentation, nothing is there. She went through it slowly, abandoned everything. That's it. So likewise, we don't know, if we consider the death, we don't know when it's going to happen. It can happen so soon or maybe after a couple of years or whatever. But Are we prepared, as you pointed out? So here, as you said in the Vipassana, so if the mind is very clear, clean, no attachment, no grasping, you are fairly prepared. Preparing. Preparing. Who knows when the lottery ticket may come. Invitation from Mara is there. And recently one minister passed away, Sri Lanka. So he met with an accident. One minister, Sri Lanka, yeah. He passed away. He was participating to few weddings. On the way back, in the middle of the night, met with an accident. At that spot, passed away. A young guy, just 40 something, no? 48 or something years. So, the death is inevitable, and there is no age limit, there is no time limit, and there's no any particular cause or something. Many causes are there, things can happen. So are we ready? So that akinchanang is in a way the mindset that Arahant is having. So his mind is completely empty. He has no belongings. That doesn't mean that he is giving up everything and he become a beggar. He may have something, but his mind is not occupied with anything. Whatever the associations are not there. Say he has some associates, but they are not occupied in his mind. There are various objects he may have, but they are also not occupying his mind. Mind remains calm, quiet, peaceful, unoccupied, unburdened. Something like that. So akinchanang anadanang is another two terms going together sometimes. Akinchanam means belonging nothing. Anadanam means desiring nothing, asking nothing. You are contented. Mind is fully contented, happy, peaceful right now, in the present moment. So, these things are easy to mention, easy to talk, but literally, or rather practically, are we able to maintain this kind of a mindset? That's what we need to try. So we can understand deeply through the Dhamma, and this is the state that Buddha is so appreciating, so explaining. So practically, are we able to maintain such kind of a mentality? Are we able to maintain a clear mind always? Are we able to maintain the mind undisturbed, even when disturbing things are happening? When someone is, hinting, someone is looking you down, belittling you, are you able to maintain a quietude in your mind? So those are the areas that we can check ourselves. And again, when someone is praising you, putting you in the pedestal, are you able to still not being elated? Are you able to still maintain some peace in your mind? Typically the vicissitudes of the life, gain, loss, gain, lose, or loss, gain, loss, fame, ill fame, suffering and happiness. So those are the 8 vicissitudes of our life. So when we are going through that, are we able to maintain our mind in the middle level without being completely elated, delighted, or without being completely collapsed, depressed? Are we able to maintain our mind in the middle? That shows fair amount of maturity, isn't it? So because those are every day, every time it's happening. In one day you are losing, another day you are gaining. One day there are a lot of fame and praise. Another day completely ill fame and you are being blamed, you are being looked down. You are the worthless person, useless person, and you are being completely looked down. Another day, a lot of fame, a lot of praise, and you are Bhante, you are the best Bhante, you are the best person. I need you, Kalyana association, blah, blah, blah. You are in the pedestal. Without jumping to any of these, can you? Okay, good. Let me have my lunch.
I think Nissarana Vanaya is a good practice place.
Perfect. Very vulnerabilities are there. All the fluctuations are there. One day you are on the moon, another day you are on the hell. Your companions are helping to recognize that. Any questions from outside? I don't know. Kumara, I don't know whether you are there.
Sorry, Bante. Yes, I'm Kumara here.
Right.
No, nothing from here. I think because of this topic, the pinned silence is there, pin drop silence.
Correct. Yes, please. Yes.
Good morning, Bante. So my question is, what advice would you give to householders here or out there who are living a more conventional life and have jobs, children or not children, but they're engaging in, conversations with their coworkers about sports, movies, music, theater, what have you? Just what, maybe they're even Vipassana practitioners, but they don't have the opportunity to live a monastic life. What advice would you give to not be attached?
No, that's the thing. So, Buddha's teaching is not only for monastics. So, it is even for the householders. So, household people, how are they, practice at least to some extent, so that they are not so much attached, so much infatuated, so much indulgence. Without going to that kind of a extreme, how about knowing some uncertainty about these things? Have some glimpse of uncertainty. Even though I have a wife, even though I have children, even though I have a car, even though I have a job, even though I have all this wealth, there is still some uncertainty. So likewise, if we get a little bit of glimpse of uncertainty in his mind, so probably he may be little prepared. So that's why Buddha often mention in general, not only to the ascetics, even to the householders, he mentioned Sabbehi piyehi manapehi nana bhavo vina bhavoti. Abhinham paccavekkitabbam. Whatever you are, preferring, whatever you like, and whatever you are holding, and whatever you are desiring, can be changed. So this is a kind of a motto, kind of a statement that you have to often reflect. Sabbehi me piyehi manapehi nana bhavo vina bhavoti. They can become otherwise. They can change. They can completely change. Say, for example, you are loving your wife so much, thinking that she will take care of me and she will be faithful to me. Everything you are holding her and thinking about, and so much of trust. Can I? Yeah, one moment. So there are still, you can better have sabbehi piyehi manapehi nana bhavo vina bhavoti. Probably there can be a change. It's not that you are maintaining kind of an untrust or, doubt, but she can end up with something. She can die. Someone can steal her. Someone can abuse her. Things can change. So likewise, this is a really vulnerable world we are in. So that's what we need to understand. So that's why it is not that impermanence that we are understanding only at the meditation hall. So the impermanence what we understand there has to be thoroughly understood more wisely in our day-to-day mundane life. All that mundane activities, even though we plan, even though we anticipate, even though we take all the necessary precautions, things can go wrong. So that kind of uncertainty is there. So likewise, so these are kind of preparations that we can do to our own self. So likewise, there are a few things Buddha mentioned. So sabbehi piyehi manapehi. Then the other thing is jara dhammhomi jara anatitomhi pabbajitena abhinham paccavekkitammam. Now, so this jara means aging process. We are going through this aging process. Inevitable. We can't avoid it. We can't stop it. It's unavoidable. Similarly, the getting sick. I'm maybe getting the best food. I'm maybe taking all the precautions, all the healthy, precautions. But still, body can get sick. And similarly, death. Even though I am taking care of my health, life, everything, life insurance, and all these things are there, death can happen. Death is inevitable. And then last, kammasakomi. Kammasakomi, kammadayado, kammayoni, kammabandhu, kammapatisarano. That means there is a link towards what I have done. My actions are really bearing some fruit. So I am responsible for my actions. Either bodily actions, verbal actions, mental actions, I am responsible. So if there were any kind of past, say, bad deeds, there can be certain consequences I might have to go through. So you are kind of becoming a responsible person in that sense. So you are not behaving in a foolish manner. Rather, you're being fairly wise and you're fairly taking care of the whole thing. So that is another thing that Buddha asks us to remember. So all these things Buddha say often you need to reflect, keep in your mind. So I think he particularly mentioned pabbajitenava stiyava purisenava. So even for the typical monks or even to the females, even to the males, it's a common thing that you need to often reflect. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, there are no questions, then we can wind up. We actually have finished the verse sutta also. It's a little short sutta. And then we can wind up today's Dhamma discussion. And from next Thursday onwards, hopefully Bhante Dhammajiva will start the typical usual Sinhala Dhamma sermon on Thursday. And this English...
Tuesday.
Sorry.
English.
The Sinhala Dhamma sermon will be on Thursdays.
Yes.
And English Dhamma discussion, what we discussed today, will be taken off on Tuesday after around 8:30. So that is how it will be implemented from next week onwards. Okay. So I cordially invite Venerable Dhammavijita to conduct the sharing of merits.
May all celestial beings share in the merit produced by today's teaching, and may they protect the Dhamma exposition and dispensation of the Self-Enlightened One and his disciples for a very long time. May our relatives and all beings share in the merits of today's teaching, and may the seeds of the Buddha's teaching that we have planted in our hearts and minds grow and produce path, fruition, and nibbana. I invite you all to join in the recitation of the traditional Pali verses for sharing the merits.